All right, so today I'm going to talk about 5 different ways that you can improve your lead quality through advertising. And one of them isn't to call me, but you still could do that too. All right, so jokes aside, every day I get contractors talking to me about how their lead quality is going down, the price per lead is going up, it's getting more competitive. Things like Home Advisor and Angie's List are costing more money and turning out to be less and less. So I thought I'd give you guys 5 different ways that you can improve your lead quality through advertising. Some of these are pretty basic, but hope these give you some things to at least think about a little bit. So first and foremost, my first tip here is that I believe you should try to be authentic. So what does that mean? Well, I've yet to meet any person advertising in print or radio that doesn't argue or contend that their prices are the best, their quality is the best, blah, 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 whatever. I think it's really refreshing when companies, businesses, and contractors say, look, I'm not the cheapest in town, and I wouldn't want to be the cheapest in town because cheap work typically gets you a cheap job done, and it's just not as good of a quality as you'd get if you paid good money for good service. I think that the standard American consumer these days really wants to have a higher quality service done as opposed to a cheap job done. They still want to save money by and large, but I think it's more important to promise that quality and give that quality assurance as opposed to you're the cheapest guy in town. When I used to sell cars, we learned this triangle of 3, right? So you can only pick 2 of the following. You can either have a cheap car, a car that runs well, or a car that looks good. Pick 2. If a car's cheap and runs good, probably doesn't look good. Vice versa, and keep going with that. Okay. So my second little tip here for how to improve your lead quality through advertising is photo versus video. Now, in the past, we used to use really well done graphics that establish maybe an offer or talk about what you have, what offer you have for that season. We used marketing techniques like the fear of missing out. This offer expires on April 31st or whatever, and those just aren't as effective as they used to be, at least on the social media platforms. So a video, just by the case that it is a video and nothing else, is about 10 times more likely to be seen on any form of advertising on social media. So I highly recommend that you use videos instead of photos. So my third tip is to make it simple. I can't stand when this happens, and I see it happen all the time. It is probably my most recommended thing that I have for the folks that we work with, and that's that people need to have an easy way to get a hold of you. So if they land on your website, and let's say it's not mobile optimized, for example, and they can't find a phone number, they're liable to bounce right off of it. They're liable not to see it. So make it simple for somebody to get a hold of you. I always recommend having a call to action at the very top of a screen, the first thing that you see, because giving somebody the opportunity and the availability to get a hold of you instantly is paramount to your success online. Number 4, manage your reputation. So if you are a company and you, let's say, have gotten and garnered some negative reviews in the past, then that can really impact whether or not somebody chooses to get online with you. Now more than ever, it's easier to find information on a company, and so very oftentimes we'll have a customer that will do their research and they'll see how a company looks online and what types of things that they're doing. So that way it's very difficult for say a business that has 2 stars to have any type of success online. So make sure you manage your reputation. 5th and finally, and I see this happen more than probably any of the aforementioned things, is if you are selling a $10,000 product, don't use a $5 ad and expect to get a tremendous result out of it. I'm not saying that you have to jump all the way in and dive in head first, but what I am saying is that if you're trying to sell a Rolls Royce, for example, then you don't want to have something cheap or amateur done to represent what your ad happens to be. So those are my 5 tips to improving your lead quality through advertising. Hope those help.